to do it. Now moto wasikusumbue. Sanaipe Tande with Just the Way You Are off her 40 and Fortune album. That is very, very beautiful. Add it to your playlist. We are getting our music from Spotify, and next right now is when you are telling me, A Rasta and Wizkid, give me that. Okay, fine. We're gonna play it in when you're closing. And yes, add these songs to your playlist. It supports the artist, and you also get to learn new music that you can add. You can basically just add to your playlist. So this is A Rasta. What's it called? Give me that. Let me see. You know, I'm discovering new music because me, I don't know where I'm at. I'm always discovering new music, but it's not the kind of music that people listen to a lot. Okay, so I got it. Give me that. We'll close the show with it. Thank you so much, Kick765. So we are on the In All Honesty podcast on our TBC radio show, coming to you every Monday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on Instagram Live with yours truly, Olive Rao. And today we were talking about exposure as compensation. Do we have a moral obligation to pay people? And we've had quite a discussion in the first hour where we were looking at, okay, there was a conversation on X a while back while it was still Twitter, and people were asked, should interns be paid? And a lot of people came up to say, no, they shouldn't be paid. That is good for character development, as we were not paid, so why should they get paid? Just some really wild reasons for why interns should not be paid. So we've seen also some comments that we've gotten from social media, from the comments that we got on the prompt from social media, which now I started posting on Thursday, so we have enough time for confessions, we have enough time for people to just send in their thoughts, and so I hope you get it. And before we continue to our confessions today, I want to remind you that there are advertising opportunities on this podcast. If you want to run an ad, if you want a mention, if you want to sponsor either a segment, an episode, or the entire season, you can always talk to me at mail@byolive.com, or you can reach out through WhatsApp. That is +254 728 171 059. Let's get to talk and see how we can get to branding, how we can get you out there so that more people get to see you, so that as opportunities for branding on this podcast. And before we go on, there's always one brand that has been sponsoring this podcast the entire time. So let's hear from our sponsors. The In All Honesty podcast on TBC Radio is brought to you by Olive. If you are dreaming of starting your own podcast, By Olive offers expert podcast consults to help you set up and grow your show within no time. Also, By Olive provides emotional intelligence coaching to sharpen your self-awareness, equip you with tools to manage your relationships both at work and at home, and get mental health support from highly qualified and certified psychology and adjacent specialists, coming highly recommended by Olive. Find everything you need to thrive at byolive.com. The link is always in my bio in the podcast page, wherever you are seeing or listening to this, whatever account you find where I'm at, you will find it in the bio, and just click on the link and get to interact with all the services that BioOlive is offering. And if you want to reach out to also advertise on the podcast and sponsor the podcast in any way, either a segment, an episode, or a season, feel free to reach out. Now, today we are talking about exposure as a currency. Do we have the obligation to pay people? Had a lengthy discussion in our first episode. We'll go through our thoughts and analysis after we've read the confessions. And then, yes, we'll get into our thoughts and analysis. And I'm so grateful to the conversation that we've had here. We've had a lot of people actually give us insight into what it looks like to either pay people structurally. We've learned from Jamila that if you decide to go the structural way of paying people, then it will open you up to the legal structure. Then you have to pay taxes. Then there's all of that. Also, you can choose to have a side agreement like the one I had when I was interning, where you can decide to pay someone off your pocket. And it's just a token of appreciation. At least cover their expenses, maybe their food or their transport or their Wi-Fi if they're working from home. So at the end of the day, it's always just try and compensate. Find and meet people halfway. We've seen someone on TikTok here who said, in this economy, I beg, please pay people, give people some money. Experience is great, but give people some money. And if you've missed the live action in the first hour, do not worry. You can find all of that in our website, byolive.com. The link is in my bio. When you go there, you can find an episode for 75 Kenyan shillings only from tomorrow onwards. That's how you get to support the podcast. Also, you can join our YouTube subscription membership. That is 322 shillings per month. And you'll get every other week, you'll get the podcast episodes uncut and edited for 2 hours straight. So if you want the audio by olive.com, you can download it for 75 shillings. If you want the video on YouTube, you can find it for 322 per month, which is right about $2.45 per month. Yeah, it's pretty fair. But let's get into the confession. So our first confession here is saying, my unpaid gigs led to paid one. This is a story that a lot of people can relate with. Now, I've done charity events for free and practice or fun, and they have led to many paying gigs from participants and other non-profits. I think having the networking opportunity is good in the right circumstances. I agree with the community that they literally that them literally offering exposure is lame. But if you see something you want to do and offer to do it, it often works out. I recall shooting one event nearby for a venue, then being booked for years of events at the location. They are a fabulous client and always pay way ahead of time. Ended up being complicated after COVID cancellations. Lol. So yes, doing free gigs always like sort of gets you other paid gigs. But here's the thing, you have to identify that when you're doing this thing, you have to have a goal for why you're doing this particular thing. So if, say, I wanted to, like, let's say I wanted to, when I went for my internship, the internship where I was not getting paid, I really wanted experience in working because then I can go somewhere else. You know how you always get your salary better when you change companies? That was my strategy. So if I work here, I can go somewhere else and say I have worked here. And I'm not going to say I worked there as an intern. I'm going to say I've worked there as the position that was supposed to be handled by someone else, and I did it as an intern. So let's say I was the communications assistant, then I'll go there and say I'm communications assistant, not the communications assistant intern. So then I'll get taken up and they'll feel like, okay, this one has experience. I'll work here again for kidogo money. It might not be a lot of money. And then here, after I leave here, I can, then the third place I go to, I say I worked as a communication assistant and I also worked there as a branding person. Evo. And then I worked here as a content producer. So you go getting more and more, like your remuneration grows as you continue getting more jobs. So it's usually a strategy that works, but you have to be very keen on what you want to achieve. Otherwise, if you just like doing things or you don't know what the direction is, don't go into unpaid gigs. Don't do things for free when you don't know what you want to achieve. Like you see, this person was working, knowing very well that they want to build their portfolio. So have you already identified your career path? So if you're building a portfolio for photography, you're keen to even do free gigs or do discounted gigs so that we build a portfolio for photography. Because then it will not serve you if you've done a free gig for photography and then you go and become a musician. So now you're starting afresh. So at the end of the day, you have to be very keen on what you want to do when you're getting this free service. And you see, also gauge. Listen to your instinct. Also gauge, is the person you're interacting with someone who seems faithful, someone you can trust, someone who you feel if you've done a good job, then they won't sabotage you. They'll come back and try and give you more business. So yeah, there's also that. And then our second confession here, someone said barter trade instead of free. Interesting. If you want to build a portfolio, I would recommend suggesting trading for work instead of doing free. I've had an ongoing trade deal with the owner of a tattoo shop and the owner of a car repair shop where I shoot some photo or video content for them as needed and I get free car service and tattoos. I've also traded for carpet cleaning, took photos and video clips of the guy cleaning my carpets, membership fees for my local chamber of commerce, shooting one of their events, and I'm about to trade for solar panels on my house. Damn! Offering the cost of the solar panels in exchange for equal value video work for the guys' social media. So this is a really good strategy. So if you're someone who wants to get into sometimes working for free is not the solution. Do it for trading something. Trading, I'm going to give you this and then you're going to give me this. And this is something that I think I have talked about a lot when it comes to the art scene. I have talked about artists talking to their counterparts in other industries so that you exchange value. Me, I can come to your event and perform and you do my accounts for me, okay? Do you have something? I can do social media for you, and then you do my, what else do artists struggle with? Do my legals, check my contracts and all of that. Maybe you are a lawyer or a law student. So exchange for value is usually really good. And sometimes just see what it is that you're getting out of it, because you also need to be very keen, because corporations also like taking advantage of this. Oh, we'll work with you in the long term. We'll give you value that's worth the same. And this is the same concept for when you're in the influencer space. This is the same concept behind PR packages. So I got PR packages. In the beginning, you have to start getting PR packages so that people see what you can do with their products. And then after that, you can continue getting gigs. But then you also have to gauge that, because it gets to a point where you can't take PR packages to your landlord. So you have to be keen about that. So gauge. I would say this idea of trading value instead of doing it for free. This barter trade is really good with small businesses. Do it with you. You see the way this person is saying, there was a local tattoo shop. There's There's, what is it called? There's a local tattoo shop. There's a car mechanic, a garage somewhere, a mechanic. So he can get services for his car. He can get free tattoo. Well, it's not free tattoos, but he's doing the work for them, and therefore that's what he gets. So it's things that you can use on a daily. And that is something that I did even when I was starting with the influencer space. When I was getting PR packages, I was only taking PR packages that I would actually use in my day-to-day. Inajua nitatumia. So at the end of the day, it covers a particular expense on your shopping list. And so it's a good thing, right? So that one you have to gauge a lot. And the one where he actually exchanges value for solar panels, that's crazy. That's crazy. But also you need to understand that some people, because I think I've worked with a hospital that wasn't very open to give money, but they were like, what do you want? You want us to do pap smear for women. You want us to do breast screening, breast cancer screening, all of that. So we can set up a whole clinic for you, but do not ask us to give you money. So at the end of the day, you need to realize and you need to see how you can negotiate for value that's not necessarily money. And also, it's a delicate balance. While you're doing this negotiation for money, while you're doing this for value, a barter trade, there's somewhere else where you're getting your money so that your bills are also paid, everything is catered to. So at the end of the day, it's just a balance. You have to figure it out for yourself. But I would really advise, if you're going to do barter trade, do with small businesses. There is no way it's going to be profitable for you to do barter trade with a huge corporation. As I said, I'm cutthroat with corporations. I don't care. I know they have money. If they don't want to pay, they're just trying to be smart about it. But I know corporations, there's no striking a deal with a capitalist. I don't believe it. I beg. It will take a couple of convincing for me, but I don't believe that a corporation, a multinational corporation, does not have money to pay you. They want to give you something else in exchange. I don't know. But for businesses, small businesses, within and around you, it's very good. It's a very good service. The third confession I have here says, I never work for free, at a lower cost, maybe. Never worked for free. We've been in business for over 10 years, easily in the top 3 of agencies in our market. And even a year ago, someone tried pressuring us to work for free for exposure. It's always a hard no. Although in the early years, we definitely worked at a lower cost in order to build our portfolio, we also choose many times to make less profit and pay the extras that we knew would make the video better, such as some extra art direction, location rentals, hair and makeup, etc. Okay, your real portfolio is what will get you more work, never the exposure. That's okay. That's true. So this person has their own value where they're like, we're not going to do it for free. We can do it at a discounted rate, but we're not going to do it for free. You cover half these expenses. I'll give you complimentaries. I'll take care of makeup for you. I'll take care of location rental for you. I'll take care. So it's always a delicate balance. Everything is just a balance that you have to figure out for yourself. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you are just coming in, we are talking about, is exposure a currency? Is it a valid currency? And do you have the obligation as the person hiring, as you, the person who's wanting to get help? Are you obligated to pay people for their time, for their money, for whatever it is that you are getting from them? And this came from a debate that we had on social media where it was on X a while back. And someone asked, should interns be paid? And the tirade of replies, especially older millennials. You born 70, Sidri, what up to 80 something? Hey, do better. Do better. Are those millennials? No, 70s. 70s, huh? Baby boomer. Is that Gen X? I don't know. But Gen Xers and baby boomers? Mambo ya me, I went through it. Now you want someone else to go through it. I beg, heal. Psychologists are now cheap. Heal. Go and get help. So there was that, and there was a number of people who were just like, no, as you wanted paid. Not getting paid as an intern is what builds character. I beg, no. Even I wasn't paid. I worked for free, but I wouldn't want someone else to go through that. And I swore to myself that if I ever get to a point where I'm the one who's hiring, I'm the one who has to work with interns, I won't get an intern for free. I will not get an intern for free, especially working in a corporation. So my thoughts and analyses around this particular topic, and I'd also like to hear your thoughts and analyses because I said I'm coming to learn. Oh, the other thing that triggered this conversation was me being in a space where I need extra hands, but I struggle because I don't want people to work for me for free. And so I'm trying to figure out maybe a revenue share, a profit split where it can work for us instead of just like having someone come on board and it's like, oh, you're working with Olive, because I feel it's your home training, just as is our African culture, try at least and take care of someone's fare. Wi-Fi, if they're working remotely, lunch or whatever food during the day. I feel like someone needs to be in a good mental space to deliver. And even if they're delivering and you're not providing these things, they're straining. Like, I know I was delivering when I was working for free, but I was hella straining. It's not fair. It genuinely is not fair. Yes, I did do the job. Yes, I did give results, but I was straining so much. I had to walk from work and to work. I had to skip lunch if I didn't carry anything. And yeah, maybe I was young and my body could take it, but honestly, I didn't have to. I genuinely didn't have to. And we're realizing, even the confessions that we've had, all three of them, you're realizing it's people in the arts, yeah? And we've had here, Kunta has told us that in tech, people get paid, interns get paid right between 30 to 60K. That is a salary someone in the arts space would have sijui after, hiyo sijui hata a guy, maybe even you've worked for 5 years, ndio unaanza kuona salary ya 60K. In the arts, it's crazy. The exploitation in the soft science fields and the arts is crazy. And I don't know why. Does it feel like do the efforts of artists just feel minimal? Does it feel like kazi tunafanya ni rahisi? I don't get it. But I'm saying right now, kuna kaukali, artists are just like, I beg. Because earlier, I've seen this with music artists, where earlier on they'd perform. Like maybe you're booked for a 2-hour show. It's 5 hours, you're still performing. These days, I've seen even Kenyan artists are very keen. If you're booking me for an hour show, 60 minutes. Labda nikongeze 1 minute bonus song. Ikwe intro peke yake. Yes, 60 minutes and I'm out of stage. So I'm seeing a lot of artists taking back their power. And I hope we get to the point where we are actually getting compensated. Now, if you're someone who's just starting out your business or you're starting out your consultancy and you're like, I don't even have the money to pay to begin with. Maybe see how you can get different ways of exchanging, like we've seen from the confessions. Barter trade is a really good one, or a discounted rate. But working for free is not good, not advised. But also look at our first confession, look at what you aim to gain. Are you looking will this add something to your portfolio? Once it adds to your portfolio, will you actually get the clients you're looking for who will pay well? And also just gauge. There are people who you see like this. I'm like, okay, if I work with this person, I can get another gig. Now that's paid. But if I work with this person, they look like they're going to play me dirty. And next time they look for someone else that they can suka to come and work, because I've heard there's an agency that's actually really doing that. They work with one photographer, and then when it's time to pay that photographer, they ghost them, and then they go look for another photographer, and they're like, just work with us at this rate, or just work with us for this and exposure, and then we'll take you as our resident photographer. You work for them, they leave you there, they ghost you, they go for the next young photographer. So you have to be very keen, and that is why I'm saying for multinationals, I'm saying for corporate, I don't think there's a negotiation. So my thoughts and analysis around this topic, the first point I had here is there's no excuse in corporations. You must pay for anyone who has their hands on any project. As I've said, I'm very cutthroat with corporations. You're established. You're a full company, fully functioning. Lipawat. I beg, lipawat. Go get interns. You can get interns to help with this. If interns are coming to learn, how come you're so pressed to have them? If you're the one who's offering them value and them not offering you anything, why are you so pressed to have them? It means you can do that project without them, right? But if you're hiring help, it means you need the help. If you're very pressed that we need more hands on this project, it means there's something they're bringing on board that you didn't have, even if it's extra hands to just carry things around. And you need to pay for that. You need to pay. The Don Mario is saying, yeah, to them, you are just sitting in front of a computer all day. That can't be too hard. Even my son can do it. Then hire your son. Can we see you hire your son now? We are waiting. Hire your son, please, and pay him whatever it is, that exposure you want to pay me. Ask your son to do it. It's very simple. For corporations, I'm not joking with them. Corporations be cutthroat. When you walk into an interview, when you walk into a presentation with a multinational corporation, be cutthroat. But look at the perks, because we also need to be very keen about the perks. Sometimes someone is offering you maybe, I don't know, travel, insurance, So look at the perks so that you don't miss out on a good package because you're looking at money only. But at the end of the day, I feel like corporations have to compensate. They have to compensate. If you're a multinational company, there is no way you're telling me you want people to work for you for free. And the other thing is industrial attachment could be excusable if considered part of the school curriculum. Now, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Attachment. Where do we place attachments? And I know even if attachment is part of the school curriculum, it makes sense because that would be like your parent or your guardian paying school fees for you to study. So if attachment is part of that, then it makes sense that your parents or your guardian take care of you while you're going through that part of school. That makes a lot of sense. But then again, how long do we go for attachment. Now, I don't know about medicine and doctors and their residency. I don't know if it works the same as us being in attachment. This is what were arts and sciences were normal. I don't know if that counts, but I know for attachment, I would excuse 3 months. I would excuse the 3 months where you are on industrial attachment, where it's part of the school curriculum. But after that, but even on attachment, if you're a corporation, pay for the expenses. Pay someone's fare, pay their food, their lunch. Hey, just give them kidogo, like a token of appreciation. Give them like a 10K to get by during the month. And as I said, if someone is coming to the office, like, can they even calculate that for you? Can they tell you, I use 300 shillings on fare and I usually eat lunch for 200 shillings, and then calculate it for a month and give that to them, just so their mind is settled. We've said in the first hour that sometimes, as much as they're still delivering and they're demanding, even me, I worked for free at some point, but it was hella heavy on my body. I was walking to and from work and skipping meals just so I can deliver. And I still did deliver. I might not be pregnant, but I delivered. But at the end of the day, I really could have used a bit of cushion. I really could have used going home after a long day and not having to walk for such a long distance. I really could have used food. I really could have, the days when you went hungry, I could have used food. So I remember even those times when I did work for free, I wanted to add something on my portfolio, and it has really worked for me, the knowledge and the experience that I've gotten. But if I were in the position of hiring someone now, I'd make sure at least the expenses are covered. That is if working in corporation. So industrial attachment, I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me if it's something worth being compensated for. But if we take it as a school curriculum, sour. Take care of yourself for those 3 months. But after 3 months, start figuring out how you can start compensating someone for their expenses. And I know some NGOs, and we've mentioned in the first hour, some NGOs have a structure where you're sort of volunteering in the beginning, or rather they'll just take care of your expenses, and then after a while, they will absorb you into the company. So those are some of the things you need to look at. But also, I don't know. I genuinely do not know. I've never stayed long enough at a place to get absorbed. I mean, I've always left. And not because I wasn't getting paid, only because I like adventure. So when I get used to something, once the job becomes very routine, I'll need something more exciting. So that's why I've always left jobs to go to the next job. I'm very adventurous in that sense. There's something else is in personal projects or as startup business, consider barter trade. This is something we've seen in the second confession. Barter trade is really good. So get something for the value that you're offering. So if you're offering photography, I'm going to give you photography. We've seen the second confession is going to get solar panels installed on their house just for videography. But it makes sense. It makes sense because sometimes businesses are willing to give you what they have, but they're not willing to give you the money. Like, I'll not give you money for videography, but I can install solar panels. And you see this person, his car is being attended to at the MEC for free. It's not for free, but he's giving them services, and then he'll get like free mechanic service, and then he'll get like free tattoos. So he's made barter trades with a couple of businesses around him. Now, we've said for this type of arrangement, look at small businesses. I don't think barter trade would be good for you if you're looking at a corporation. Corporations are always looking to exploit. So that's a good barter trade. And I've said this I've seen Gen Z influencers doing it a lot, and it's very beautiful. Millennials, niwaitie mkulima. Millennials, do better. So if you're good at maybe social media, you can offer social media to a friend who then can offer you accounting services like that. So barter trade, exchange value, it's a really good place to be. And maybe also for, even if like someone like me who's an influencer and looking to get extra hands to help me, we can see how we can exchange value. So maybe I will push a product for you, and then you come and do, I don't know, virtual assist for me for a bit. We can see how to work around that. But that is very good. And the last thing we've seen is you can work at a discounted rate. The last confession we've seen is someone who's very adamant. They're like, me, I can't work for free. I can work for discounts, but I can't work for free. Or there are complimentaries I can give you. Like I'll do a shoot for you, and then I'll cover the location. Or I'll do a shoot for you, I'll cover makeup, right? So ni kuelewana. I said when we were beginning this conversation, it's a very nuanced conversation. There's no right or wrong perspective to stand on. It's very nuanced. It keeps changing with who you're interacting with, what position you're in. So a lot of times it calls for just analyzing your situation. Just do a quick brush of where am I? What do I want to gain? How can I compensate this person? But hapo kwa compensation pia tumesema it relies heavily on morality, and that we know is subjective. So for me, I'm just feeling like the African culture, the home training I have, you're coming to work for me for free. I'm not even taking care of your lunch. Okay, fine, it's virtual. Then I'll try and make sure whatever money we are earning at least pays your Wi-Fi for the month. I said, for me, that's a point of morality where you have to compensate someone, even if it's just for their expenses. And that one is subjective. Some people care about it, some people don't. Jamila here has actually mentioned that if you open yourself up, for her, she's of the opinion, she'll only start paying when the company makes profit. So once the business starts to make profit is when she'll start paying. But even that, she's looking at the structured way of paying, where if you start paying according to law, then you're open to the legal processes. You're open to maybe leave days. You're open to tax deductions. You're open to all of that. So at the end of the day, just converse with the person who you want to come over for help, to help you out, to give you a helping hand, and see where you're at. As I've said, ni kuongea. Hatuwezi kosana. Mazuri Stores, you're saying, hujambo, Olive. Today I'm very late. We are very late. Tunafunga podcast. Tuko karibu kufunga podcast. But yes, if you're just coming in, this is the In All Honesty podcast on our TBC radio show, coming to you every Monday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on Instagram Live with yours truly, Olive Oral. And today we were talking about compensation as exposure. Do you have the moral obligation to pay people for the services that they are offering you? And I have said, mimi huko kwa corporate, tafadhali, let us not negotiate to pay people. But when it comes to businesses and you as a personality and just trying to get hands on board to help you out, then you see, monge, just talk and see where you can meet in the middle. Value exchange is something that I think is a very good thing. And also working on discounts. I can work on discounts and build my portfolio. In the beginning, you always have to work either for free or almost free. Maybe it's just your expenses getting paid and you need this to build your portfolio. And we've also seen someone saying about networking. So if you're in these spaces where you are exposed to particular people who can be your potential customers in the future, that's also a good thing. So at the end of the day, don't lock out all opportunities that just don't pay. Gauge, weigh. And I will tell you this, you can call me up for emotional intelligence coaching. Because what people also don't understand is that emotional intelligence coaching is very situational. So if you're going through something, let's say you've gotten an offer today and you don't know what to do about it or how to navigate, come to emotional intelligence coaching. We'll sit down, we'll look at your situation, we'll write down, or rather we'll note what are the possible scenarios that will occur if you either take the job. If you don't take the job, what are the possible scenarios that will occur? How will you handle this particular thing if it happens? How will you handle this particular thing if it happens? Then we set goals for what you want to achieve with this particular project, right? If I'm going in, if I'm not getting paid, if I'm getting paid a little, if I'm getting well compensated, how do I move from here? It's a big gig. So at the end of the day, with emotional intelligence coaching, we'll be able to navigate different scenarios in that particular situation so that you're navigating with awareness. So yeah, talk to me again by olive.com. The link is in my bio. We just help you navigate particular situations, very situational. It could be this one thing I want to go through. I've gotten an offer. I need thoughts. I need clarity around it. Let's talk about it and see how we can get through it. And also last but not least is something that I am heavily working with right now, which is commissions. Commissions are a fair bargain when you have inconsistent revenue or income. So I don't know whether to call it commissions, but what I've called it is maybe revenue splits and profit splits. That's the one where I can bring you on. And this is not on a retainer, because again, if you do a retainer, again, what Jamila said, you're opening yourself up to the legal structure of operation. So do it in an unstructured manner. Have someone on board to help you out, but then you just agree. If let's say my book is going for 1,500 Kenyan shillings, you'll get 40% of every book sold. It's as simple as that. But then you do this and this for me for that particular book. So I think what we call commissions, it could be revenue split. Yani just agree so that any money coming in, you are splitting it. And at this point, it looks like this is sort of your business partner. And yeah, I guess that's a way of compensating someone than actually just having them do things for free. I know this is something I have struggled with so much. And I'm just like, in my heart, I could never have someone. And I was telling a friend of mine just the other day, and when I told her, I'm really struggling and I need extra hands, so I'm looking for how I'll cost share with people. I'll cost share probably the revenue I'm making. And I said, I don't think I'll hire someone for free, because that's the most advice I'm getting. And she said, no, don't hire someone for free. That don't do. And I felt so affirmed, because like sort of everyone I had been talking to was just like, but they're gaining from you, but you're giving them exposure, you're giving them so much. I know there's value working with me. That one I have not denied. I have said, and I know if you ever work with me, you are 10 times better than before you worked with me. That one I know. I'm a damn good leader. I am a damn good leader. I train people. I teach people. I sharpen skills. I'm good. I'm good. There's always value. But I feel even with that value, I beg. Kasongo is still on the seat. In this economy, someone asked here, in this economy, pay people, please. Please pay interns. Happy nature.adventure one. You are saying, yani no mengi. Are you mad? Ebu wanyime. Ebiwe should be listening to this. She has a lot to learn and improve. Who's Ebiwe Yime? Who's Ebiwe Yime? Please let me know who Ebiwe Yime is before we go. I want to close up on the episode earlier today, actually. But I said in this episode today, I'm just coming to learn a lot. I really just wanted to learn a lot. I'm still living knowing that I won't have people on board without paying them. But at least I have more clarity now. I have a lot more clarity, and I've learned a lot. I actually have learned a lot from the feedback I'm getting. I'm sorry. I've learned a lot from the feedback I am getting, and it seems, yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. Also, there's something I said in the first hour that I just want to reiterate. I know a lot of us, especially millennials, we did work for free in the beginning, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't change the system. Like, I was very adamant. I knew when I was working for free, I knew when I get to the point where I have the capacity to hire, whether I am working with an employer or me myself, I knew I would never hire someone for free. Yes, I went through it. Yes, it did build character. The Grace Cup lady child. The Grace Cup. I know her. Wait, why should she learn from this conversation? Is she not paying people? I think I'm choking on something. Okay, why is Abby supposed to learn something from this conversation? Is she not paying people? And that brings me to another point. By the way, if you are a good leader, people won't mind doing things for you sometimes. Because I know I have been in very tight positions before, and my people were just like, ole usijali, hiyo tutafanya kiasi baadaye, we'll see what we'll do later. If you're a good leader who genuinely looks out for your people, you won't even have to worry about people being mean to you, your interns coming for you. So just be a decent human. I promise it pays off. There's a time we were also doing moshene, and someone told me, not Lydia K, what's her name? The girl for cosmetics, the red lipstick girl, Joanna K. Someone told me Joanna K has a very good relationships and she treats her employees very well. So that is something people need to understand. It's not always just the money. It's how you treat people as well. And when I'm telling you, take care of someone's fare and maybe their transport and their lunch, it's a good thing. People usually feel like they can work better with someone who's considerate of them, who's considerate of their mental, their physical. So at the end of the day, I beg, be a good leader, be a decent human. It works best. It works best for you. I beg, you're giving us tea and then you're leaving us at a good day all. Okay, fine. It's time for it's time for work. But if you're just coming in, this is the In All Honesty podcast. We're going to close up on the episodes. And it comes to you every Monday morning on our TBC radio show, coming to you because I'm used to saying it like that, from 7 to 9 a.m. here on Instagram Live. And then if you've missed the live action, you're definitely going to get it from tomorrow onwards. This second part, which is the podcast part of the show, you can stream it on all your podcast platforms where you get your podcast. It could be Spotify, AfriPods, you go and get your podcast there. And also, if you just want the full 2 hours unedited and adulterated, you can find it at buyolive.com. The link is in my bio. You buy an episode for only 75 Kenyan shillings. And if you are subscribed to our YouTube membership, that is 322 shillings per month, coming to $2.45 only. Yes, if you subscribe to our membership, you can find the episodes there. The videos are always uploaded from tomorrow onwards. So you can catch this conversation that we were having today. Is exposure a currency? And are you obligated? Do you have a moral obligation to always pay people? So I think it's been a really good conversation. So while you're continuing to interact with people, you're continuing to grow your brand. I know a lot of people have opened businesses, consultancies. While you're continuing to do all that, see where is a sweet spot for you and the people who are helping you out. Sometimes it's not possible to fully compensate people for the value they are bringing on board, but make it a beautiful environment to work. For corporations, I repeat, do not negotiate. Do not negotiate with a terrorist. That's what I see capitalist structures as. They have the money, so do not negotiate. Do not negotiate. Mazuri Stores, you are saying, I have a tiny shop, but work is draining. I can't do everything by myself. That is very It's very common. It's not a unique experience. There's a lot happening. And I'm saying why even this conversation was triggered, because I am an influencer. And apart from being an influencer, I started a consultancy and I have this podcast running as well. So sometimes I'm just like, damn, nitakufa, guys. So if you're going to get someone, you can see if there's profits coming in, or whenever you can agree on revenue share or value, maybe they can get things from the shop and then they offer you a particular service. I don't know. But at the end of the day, find a way in which both of you can gain value from it. And it also makes each other's life easier. So if you're the person who's hiring or getting help, can you cover this person's fare to work so that they are so that they are catered for and don't feel like those things are eating up on them? Because as I said in the first hour, these small things like food and fare, those small things really eat up your brain, because sometimes you're at work and you're like, oh, then I'm supposed to go home in the evening. I don't know where I'm going to get fare. But if all of that is taken care of, you can see even the people showing up to your project or to your work more, more motivated. They are motivated just because they don't have to think about the little things. And also there are things that I said I practiced myself. And one was, if I'm employed and I'm having you as an intern, I will definitely find a way of compensating you for whatever it is that you're doing. And this is corporation money. We're talking about corporation money because I know it's a lot. You cannot tell me you're a multinational company that has no 10,000 for an intern. Utawapea 10,000. And if I'm giving you such little money, if I'm just taking care of your expenses, I'm very keen to not take up priority. So you can decide me, you are doing my work 2 hours in the morning and then you leave me. I have no right to call you in the middle of the day. There's an emergency. Can you do this and that and send it in the next 5 minutes? I can't do that. If I'm paying you 10,000, I beg. It doesn't matter whether you're an intern or not. I'm not entitled to your time like that. And as well as I can't demand more of your time. I can't demand priority and I can't demand a lot of your time. So I can't pay you 5,000, 10,000 Kenyan shillings and expect to have you on call the entire time, like the whole day. No, I understand 10,000 shillings cannot take care of any money, of any bills in Nairobi. You need to go and work for other people to complement this money that I'm giving you so that you're able to survive. So those are things that you just consider normally as a human being so that someone is not straining to deliver for you. And as for small businesses, as I have said, we have to look at value. A lot of times you can look at barter trade. What can they bring on board? So it's not monetary wise per se. What are they bringing on board and what can I give them that's not exactly money? Or we can always exchange value. I'll do photography for you. You do tattoos for me. I'll do photography for you. You do social media for my Airbnb. So at the end of the day, there's exchange and people within different industries can always gain from each other. As I've said, I've seen Gen Z influencers doing it. Millennials may give up on you, but Gen Z influencers really even meet up and then they shoot videos for each other. And then sometimes one person understands law better than the other. They'll explain contracts to the other person. And then one person understands accounts. So me, I can do your social media for you and you do my accounts for me. Yes, that barter trade, that networking is really, really good. We've also seen someone who says, they never work for free. They can work for a discounted rate or they can give complimentary packages, but they don't work for free. Give me the money, even if it's kidogo, and then I'll give you some extras, and then after that we can see how we can build the business, and you can pay full price in the next one. Mazuri Stores, you're saying, I got a sales lady. I can't afford to pay much. We get a good sell. I give her lunch. I still feel guilty for paying her less, but bills are draining me. That is very understandable. By the way, if you're a small business, it is very understandable, and I hope also the person you have gotten understands that. And it's the same way I think Jamila also mentioned. When you start to make profits, like when the money comes in, is when they can earn as well. And I hope the person you're working with also understands that. It's not that I just came here for the money and I'm not being paid that money. I hope they understand that the business is young. Only when the business comes in do I get something in return. And also with that, then you can also have an arrangement where they also work to bring business to the company. So more business coming into the company means they're getting paid. You can even involve a commission. You can decide if you go and bring someone, if a business is your link, your direct link, if you bring someone for 600 bob, then you get, I guess, 50% of what that profit will be and not the normal pay that you're getting. That is on top of the normal pay. So at the end of the day, just look at the arrangements. Nimesema it's a very nuanced conversation. There is no right or wrong perspective to stand on. It's just tuelewane. We can always talk. Let's see where we can meet at the middle And then, of course, if you're the kind of person who's also working right now, you're in the space where you're working for free or you're working for very little money, have an idea of what exactly you want to achieve. I know a lot of times we work for free to build our portfolio. So I hope you're building your portfolio for something long term. This is something, if it's a if it's a photography business, I'm offering photography so that I can build my photography agency or for a couple of years, right? Because it will be counterproductive if you're doing free social media right now, and then later on you go into do, I don't know, law. You decide to be a lawyer. Sasa hii social media ulikuwa umefanya for free ni ya nini? Yeah, so at the end of the day, sometimes you need to understand what your goal is and work towards it. Because I know a lot of us who did free work, it was to build our portfolio for something very particular. So yeah, and Kick 765, you say, CC, government of Kenya, the cost of living highways. Copy the government of Kenya. Bado ananas wundi ya kiatu. But in this economy, try your best to be your brother's keeper. Try your best to show up for people. If you're the person employing, try your best. If you're the person being employed, try your best to also make it easier. Right now, a lot of people have gone into businesses and consultancy. And if someone is trying to work with you, just be a decent human being and both work towards your betterment. So if you're faithful, if you're true to yourself, if you're true to the person you're working with, you're not looking to exploit them, we will do better as a unit. But if you're always trying to one-up the other person, you're always trying to cut corners and exploit one person, it will be tough. It will be tough. But although I know for some, like the people who are going into politics and the people who are cutthroat corporate, I know for them, they don't care. They'll step on anyone to get to where they need to go to. And most of those people are actually successful and they do gain a lot of money. And yeah, as someone who's very keen about how other people feel and other people's mental wellness, I think I made peace with the idea that I might not ever be the richest person in the world, because that involves a level of exploitation. And I really struggle with exploitation. I don't know, it's because I have been exploited before, but I struggle with exploiting people. And I know for that reason, I will make money. I know I will make fair, good money, decently, like with good morals. But the ridiculous kind of money, the Cadillac, I can buy a Cadillac cash kind of money, I don't know. It might come if we all decide to operate better. It might come. But I'm not looking to be extremely rich like that, because I know some level of wealth comes with exploitation. It comes with having exploited people. So I hope this conversation really comes through for you. I hope it helps and you feel like you've learned something. I hope you have learned something or you've had a good time either way. And before I close up on this conversation, I just want to remind you that we have advertising opportunities or sponsorship opportunities on this podcast. So if you'd like to advertise with me, just let me know. mail@byolive.com. That's the email. And you can always reach out on WhatsApp +254 728 171 And all of this is actually in my bio, in any of the pages, whether you're on By Olive, you're on the podcast page, or you're on Olive Orao, you will find all of this. So you have a way of reaching out to me. The mistake you might do is DMing me. There's a lot of DMs and it will just get lost there. So an email or reaching out on WhatsApp will be an easier way. And let's see if we can get your brand out there for people to listen. You can also choose to either sponsor a segment of the show, sponsor an episode, or sponsor the entire season. So let's work together. But right now we are closing up on this episode of the In All Honesty podcast on our TBC radio show, coming to you every Monday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on Instagram Live. With you was truly Olive Orao. Today we were talking about exposure as currency. Do you have the moral obligation to pay? So we've had a lengthy conversation. And right now, let's get, we're closing. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. I hope your Monday had started off well. And we had a request. We have request hour. You can even request for one that we can start with the next week. So we started the show with, what is her name? Sanaipe Tande, Just the Way You Are, a beautiful song. We are getting our music from Spotify, so add it to your playlist. And right now, someone has requested Gimme That by Era Star featuring Wizkid. So we're closing the show with that. I hope you have yourself a lovely, lovely time. And I guess for now, bye.